Hello, today I'm playing GRAVITEAM TACTIcs MIUS FRONT in skirmish mode. I will be doing a battle between Iran and South Africa. I will be defending as the Iranians, and I will be commanding a motorized infantry company with a tank attached, and I will have some fire support elements in the form of two TOW ATGMs mounted on a M113 APC, 250 caliber Browning heavy machine guns, and an automatic grenade launcher, plus two artillery spotters for 81mm mortars, 3 mortars, and and two 203mm self-propelled guns. So I will be playing as the Iranians against the South Africans, as I said. The difficulty is set to hard, which translated into actual terms from the game terms, it means the enemies will outnumber me. Regulars is the experience of my troops, which will be trained soldiers. The other two options are mobilized soldiers, which will have a low level of training. They will route more easily, and they will have a lower command level, which is a game thing, which basically means you can do less complicated operations with them because you can give less orders, and they aren't very responsive. It takes more time, so kind of. Actually, gravity mechanics are a bit shady and obscure. It's not exactly clear, but there are resources on Steam if you want to read it. It's set in the 1980s in summer in a Russian plains map from the World War II scenarios, so there may be some props like destroyed Soviet trucks and stuff that are actually part of the map itself, and also some craters from artillery. It takes place at dawn and there will be rain. So I'm playing in a defense. That means that my units will be started by being entrenched, while the enemy units will not be. You can choose an attack, which is the opposite, and then you can have a meeting engagement where no one is entrenched. Medium is just the size of the battle, basically how many units you can choose. Then there is battle type. As you can see, I have chosen armored, which means the enemies will choose armored units, will lean more heavily towards them. The other options are no preference or infantry, but I wanted to defend against an armored attack, so I selected this one. The South Africans have AFVs in the forms of various rattles, like the Rattle 20, Rattle 90, which are the calibers of their guns. Like the 90 is an assault gun basically, and the 20 as an autocannon, and usually also is an APC, EFV more than an APC. And they also have an ATGM carrier, which is called ZT3, and also the Rattle 80, which is a mortar carrier, and basically everything you can mount on an armored vehicle. There's a version of the Rattle that does it. Okay, so this is the operational map. First of all, let's look at the terrain. So, as you can see from the topographic lines, we have a small valley and then two hills, which aren't very steep, but they are steep enough to create blind spots. So it's not like we are on a plateau, it is actually an hill. So I have marked here in red with red lines the major blind zone, but actually this blind zone extends up to the text that I have on the top here that says main with the arrow. And so because of that, I expected the enemies to attack from there, since they would be undetected until they were up close, so they would be less subject to my fires while approaching. And I also expected the enemy to do a secondary attack on the east, where they would be more exposed, but I expected them to do it anyway, because that would tie some of my forces to respond to their attack, and also that would do a reconnaissance by fire and reveal my positions, so they may gain useful information with that. Like, maybe I didn't have much defenses here, so they could change their approach. And in the meantime, I expected them to maybe have some preparatory fires, maybe use some smoke, and also to have support by fire by tanks and or the Rattle 90s assault guns from the hill, which offers a good line of sight, and they have the range to do that. Every square on this map is 250 meters, by the way, so they can easily reach 1 kilometer. Their tanks are Oliphants, by the way. And on the west, it has also this concealed position, so it doesn't even have to stand in the open, and it's very far away, so it would be an advantageous position. So I also expected them to dismount some of their infantry in the secondary axis of attack in this tree line to provide some fire support with some cover and concealment there, and for the rest of the force to provide fire support from behind, not from the hill, like from staying a bit behind, while the infantry with their IFVs dismounted and got up close in this more vegetated area. And meanwhile, the enemy encircled us, or more, no, flanked us, not encircled us, from their main axis of advance, which was more easy to attack because it didn't have all this vegetation and other stuff that made it easier for my guys to entrench and hide in and attack the enemy vehicles from up close. Of course, there isn't very much concealment in here, so it may be considered a danger area, but they could shoot at us from the tree line, and so they could then push undisturbed after that. So that was my thinking anyway. So my plan was to put my ATGMs and tank up front, do an attack by fire on the advancing enemy, just for a very short time, kill some of them just to blunt their attack a bit, or a lot, depending on the situation, and then fall back. At the same time, I would place my infantry in the vegetated area, where they couldn't be seen from far, but they had to be engaged from up close, and they wouldn't open fire until the enemies were up close, as to not reveal their position. And also I have heavy machine guns in this tree line to fire from the flank at the enemies coming here once they are engaged by the infantry. And also here are the artillery spotters, which would be in the front to better spot for the artillery. And the yellow line is the line to the left of which I can deploy my troops, and to the right of which the enemy can deploy its troops. And in the top left corner, the marked blue area is just a depression, a big depression, which is a blind spot, because you can't see inside it unless you go inside it yourself. And this is my actual troop disposition. In the end, I changed some things. So the idea is still is still the same. I have the infantry and the heavy machine guns and the automatic grenade launchers in the tree line behind the high grass. They can't be seen unless you approach them up from very close. And also one of the squads from the infantry platoon is in the tree line. Then I have the TOWs and the tank, one TOW and the tank up front, along with the spotter. And then I have an heavy machine gun and a TOW in the tree line. And that's it. These are the zeroing positions for my mortar, so that after he has completed his zeroing, it will be faster and more precise when I do calls for fire. And these are the the fire missions for the 203mm SPG. This is a scheduled fire, so I cannot ask for fire mission during the battle. I have to pre-plan them, so I made one in the tree line to harass the enemies in case they try to flank us. And then I made another one which will, if it even comes, because probably the first one will last the whole time because it's very slow. It's on the high grass, because I expect the enemy to eventually come to us and almost overwhelm us, because they have an armored force that outnumbers us, and we have motorized infantry and a couple of TOWs and a tank. So that once they position themselves there to attack us with their fires, they will be at least a bit harassed, if it even comes to that. These are the climatic conditions, and as you can see, unfortunately the engagement, not the operation, can last only 30 minutes, because that's how skirmish mode works. It's annoying because oftentimes the engagement ends before it would actually end. Normally it's just stop in the middle of it. Okay, so I'm now starting the game. By the way, the audio has been recorded after the video, so I will be describing my thought process during the game, and I will not spoil what will happen. So we can hear some vehicles approaching here, and we can see a flare. I told all my units to not fire, except from the tank and the TOW. So now the tank is engaging some vehicles, and also the TOW, as you can see, it has disabled one. Here's the trucks, World War II Soviet things I was talking about, that are just part of the map as props. So now we are receiving some indirect fire from mortars. You can tell by the sound. I mean, in the game they do this sound. And also you can tell by the explosions. Another tank has been engaged by the TOW. Some secondary explosions from the disabled vehicle. So now I think the tank is engaging the infantry that has dismounted from the disabled vehicles, and they are disabling quite a lot of vehicles actually. So now the TOW is taking some heavy fire, and I ordered it to retreat and fall back, as I said earlier in the plan, but I think I should have done it earlier, because since it's not armored, plus the TOW operator is exposed, it is very vulnerable, and in fact it got destroyed. Now I'm calling a mortar fire mission on their axis of advance, especially because there is a lot of infantry. So a lot of infantry that has dismounted from the armored vehicles. So this will suppress them and also kill a lot of them, probably because they are exposed on open ground. And here there is a vehicle coming through the tree line on our flank, and has shot these things. I don't know if I think they are smoke shells. At least they look like them, but they don't really release any smoke. So I don't know if they are like some frag thing that, I don't know, they can use to kill nearby infantry. I don't know. I've never seen it. So now the same vehicle is attacking the other TOW. It's probably, I don't know if it's modeled in the game, but the TOW has a minimum distance it can fire from. Like, the enemies have to be at least, if I remember correctly, 200 meters away for the missile to activate. So as you can see, in the end the TOW has got destroyed, the TOW carrier. It was already destroyed earlier. It just took some time for it to catch fire or to receive more hits and catch fire, but the crew was actually killed earlier. Now I'm having my other TOW carrier fall back, but the crew is dead. I think that it's just going on because... and also I don't know how the rattle got killed, honestly. It was coming towards me without problems, and then it just stopped and could fire. But anyway, the TOW crew was already dead. It was just going back due to inertia. And now I'm having the tank fall back, and I did the same error as I did with the TOW carrier, of waiting too long and letting the enemies get close and understand where it was and acquire the target. And also got a bit unlucky, in the sense that, as you will see, while reversing out of the trench, it exposed the top armor and got hit there. And then I don't know what they did, like they freaked out, or maybe the crew, some of the crew was already dead, like the driver was dead, and it just started randomly going forward. But it was an error on my part anyway. If I had them fall back earlier, it wouldn't have happened. So now my mortar spotters are being engaged by armor, and same thing. I should have have them fall back way earlier. And also the most retarded thing actually was the 50 cal on the front, because it's not mobile. At least the vehicles could have fallen back if I had actually gave the order at an appropriate time. But the 50 cal, I mean, yes, it could, but it's not mobile, it's foot soldiers holding a very heavy weapon. They also have to disassemble the tripod, so it was stupid. So anyway, the first part of the plan went well. I mean, reducing the enemy attack. They actually did it pretty decently. They killed a good amount of vehicles, got the infantry stranded in the open for the mortars to attack. As you can see, there's quite a bit of fire columns, smoke columns, and that's not all, because a lot of other vehicles have been destroyed, they didn't catch fire. I just failed the second part, which is falling back, and now there is the third part of the plan, which is just waiting them out with my unknown for them entrenched position of light infantry. I mean, yes, motorized infantry actually, but they actually work as light infantry in this case. They don't even fire the 50 on the M113. I don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong, but I never seen them use it. So now they are advancing. This is a Rattle 90. This it's a recoilless rifle, and that's the ZT3 ATGM carrier I was talking about, and the other one is a Rattle 20. Yes, the South Africans, they have the South African stuff, such as the Rattles, and then they have a faction called UNITA, which is like some African guys. I don't know the history of the unit. It's just African guys with the shit equipment and light infantry, basically, with some Russian stuff. Well, the South Africans are well equipped actually, they have some cool stuff. They have the Rattles, which are decent armored vehicles, the Elephant tank, M240s, and FALs. Actually, I think it's FN Mag, not the M240, because that's the American designation, but whatever. And so now we are just waiting them out, waiting for them to come out of the weeds. And then I have these guys on the flank. There is some light fighting going on with some random infantry guys coming on the flank. And then there is an armored vehicle on the front. Actually, if you notice, there are various types of colors, various colors on the enemy units. I don't remember which one is which, but it's basically like one color is they can see it and they are sure of what it is. The other one is like they have seen it before but now they aren't seeing it anymore, or something like that. Basically what this translates to is that sometimes they will keep shooting dead things because they don't know it's dead, because they don't see perfectly, especially like if they are infantry and they are shooting at someone 500 meters away, they won't be seeing that well. So now they have came over the width, and I have told all the guys again to not shoot, but well, these guys are engaging infantry, they may be revealing their positions. In fact, I was concerned that they would reveal their position and would get blasted by the armor. And now I'm giving them the order to be careful, which basically means they will lie down in the trench, like not pop their head out, but stay down in the trench, and the vehicles will be buttoned up. If they move, they won't be using headlights if it's night, unless you give them some other orders, like if you tell them to move fast, they will use headlights anyway. And so now I'm giving the order to engage. I designated the vehicles as priority targets. That's a bit of micromanagement, not really much. I think that's reasonable. I try not to micromanage. So now they are engaging the jeep instead. And I don't know how the vehicles didn't notice them. I mean, one did actually. Or it's infantry firing at them, I don't know. Nice vehicle. Got lucky here with this missed shot. I don't know if trees can detonate 90mm shells. Maybe big trees, not these ones. So they keep engaging these random guys in the weeds. And so far they haven't noticed the trench line in front of them. The vehicles, they haven't. They are just, they only noticed these guys. So now the vehicles have gotten close enough. Some of the guys engaged them anyway, even though I didn't give the order to open fire yet, but I will now give it since they have revealed their position anyway. They are engaging them with RPGs. And if you notice, I also told them to not engage infantry because I want them to focus on the vehicles first of all. And it's pretty effective. The third one is retreating now. It was a good ambush. So now I'm getting mortar fire on the flank trench. The 50 is engaging the vehicle. I really like shoulder fired AT weapons. They are pretty cool to use if you use them in the right way. Basically, with just entrenched infantry, light infantry, you can stand up to pretty heavy formations. Okay, so some of the guys in the trenches have gotten out. I don't know why. Maybe they were scared and they ran away. And I don't know. That's not a joke actually. That's a thing that can happen in the game. So here it's cool to see the AGL in action. You can actually see the rounds flying. Seems a bit off target though. I don't see the impacts. There were a couple, but I didn't see any impacts. I don't know if it's just me or if they're bugged, because I have used them other times and I never see the impacts from the automatic grenade launchers, even in other games, so I don't know. So that there's still the occasional infantryman in the weeds to the north, but the fighting has died down quite a bit. I think almost all the enemies have been destroyed or have fallen back to the group. I don't know if they will try to attack again or call it off for today. So now I told the trench line guys to hold fire, to not reveal their positions, and so if the enemy wants to attack us, they have to, if they don't already know where we are, they have to come close again. Otherwise they would be wasting ammunition, since there is basically no one to fire at, and make it easier to spot us even for artillery or tanks or other guns. So anyway, if it wasn't clear already, the artillery spotter, the mortar spotter has died when they were engaged at the beginning from the rattle. They died. They got pinned down and they slowly got picked off one by one by the infantry and the other vehicles. Same error as the other 3 units that got killed in the beginning. Okay, so the engagement ended, and overall I think it went pretty well. I made the error of not having the guys fall back at the beginning and waiting too much, and I got them killed because of that, which was a stupid decision. It was my error. But aside from that, I still think that my initial positioning was good, and in fact I think it was a positive result overall. I took some losses. I lost 2 TOWs, 1 50 cal and 1 tank. The TOWs were mounted on the APCs, M113s. But it was a very favorable trade because I killed. I had 18 casualties against 70 casualties for the enemy, and aside from that, I had 11 killed and 7 wounded, while the enemy had 49 killed and 10 wounded and 10 missing. So the casualties are also, aside from being way smaller, 1/3, less than 1/4, they are also more leaning towards the wounded than the killed. So maybe heavily wounded can be brought back in the future, while killed can't. As for the vehicles, as you can see, well, I didn't have many to begin with, but I lost some, but the enemy lost all of their vehicles, 15 destroyed and 3 damaged. But as you will see later, even the damaged ones are extremely damaged, and they are basically trashed. So now I will stop with the commentary. I will just show the after action report, where you can see all the various units and the vehicles, and see how many opposing force units they have killed and what hits they received, especially the vehicles, the damage that they received, because the vehicle damage simulation in this game is very in-depth. It will be quick, like a few seconds for each one. If you want to take a look in more detail, you can pause the video, otherwise it would be very long. And that's it.